Welcome back to the Charismatic Voice. It has been far too long since we have visited Dimash Kudaibergen's music. I think to date I've done, or at least recorded, over 40 videos featuring Dimash. And unfortunately not all of those are currently up on YouTube because we ran into some copyright issues, which is why I stopped doing his music. I'm hoping that that's changed and we're going to listen to a new song today. It has been so delightful to get to follow Dimash's career. We've gone into very early videos and looked at this huge trajectory. It's just been incredible to see him develop and range and hear the tone deepen too. And it's also been lovely to see him pair with so many different singers and composers and play with different styles. I think it's fascinating to see what he's been doing. So I'm really excited today to get to hear for the first time his performance of Stranger. This is a collaboration with Igor Krutoy, and their collaborations in general have really blown me away. Igor Krutoy knows how to write well for Dimash's magnificent range, both range in, what pitches can he hit, and also the range in how he can express himself. So I'm very excited to hear what new has come. I feel like it must continue to get better, though it's hard to imagine it continuing to get better because it's already been so good. This performance is going to be taken from 2021 of August, just dropped recently at New Wave in Sochi, Russia. Let's get to it.
Спасибо огромное. А теперь прозвучит новая песня. Примерно.
That was a cool sound. Nice delay. Oh, I don't know how he's making that sound. It's like, it almost sounds like a didgeridoo. Maybe he's going up in harmonics. He's playing a kobuz here, by the way. This is going to be a Kazakh folk instrument. It reminds me a lot of the erhu in China. But I really love the vibrancy and the shimmer in these strings. Also loving this initial view on stage. See if we can look at this again. It looked kind of like something was swirling underneath him. Yeah, like that shimmer on the stage is so cool. This is what people call a thrust stage. So it comes out into the audience. And it's not very rare that opera singers get to sing on thrust stages. And that's partly because you often have the orchestra that's like right out in front of an opera stage. I can tell you from singing a lot at the Opera Theater of St. Louis that being on a thrust stage is really fun because you're right there with the audience and you get to really be communicating closely with them. And I've seen Dimash perform on thrust stages before, and it looks like it's a wonderful way to connect with the audience. Anyhow, it's such a wonderful situation to be able to get to be out in the audience like this here. The visuals are awesome. There's a fantastic delay that also pans side to side on this as well. Huh. Nice. God, that sounds cool. Ooh, that thing in the background that's coming up is really similar to the one that was going underneath our Kobus player. Obviously, Dimash is about to sing, and we know that not just because the music has led up to this moment, but because his microphone is up. Okay, enough with the super obvious comments. This majorly reminds me of Willow, which I think has some of the best film music of all times. I love this like fantastic fantasy element that's happening. You get that partly because of the oohs and ahs of the choir. Love that they're body mic'd. Love, love, love that they're body mic'd, because that means that they can move around on stage and do this kind of cool choreography. It looks like they've got specific ways of holding the candles, and it really has a sense of like a ritual or like something sacred is about to happen. You can tell that from the garb and from the fire. It feels like maybe it's medieval in nature. Let's go back though and hear Dimash sing.
You crown as far as I can see. You crown underneath my feet. Stranger in a stranger's land. You chance to know who I am if I have the strength to begin again.
Okay, let's talk about how wonderful his voice is in this just beginning intro time. It's so nice to hear him again. His usage of air is one of the most amazing I have ever heard. He just like rides the air and sings with this tiny filament of the voice, like just the tiniest bit of phonation. And then he takes that air and he doesn't use it just to phonate, but he uses it to express beyond the phonation. So you'll hear him singing a pitch just barely, and then you hear the air will continue after, like there's a breath that's leaving. He did that in here, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, master of breath. Whew, my goodness, so good. So good. It was also really lovely to see Igor Krutoy here on the piano. I love seeing them work together so much. So let's go back to this. Listen to that brilliant airflow here. Oh, a little more. Oh. And he's a master of anticipation. Like we had this ritardando where the music was slowing down and it all stopped. And Dimash knows how to wait like just a hair longer. So it like wraps your stomach and nods like, oh, is he gonna sing? Is he gonna sing? Is he... We need him to sing. And just when it feels like that frenzy is going to break is when he starts his note. He's so great at knowing exactly when to come in the silence.
You crown as far as I can see.
That air.
You crown underneath my feet. Stranger in a stranger's land. You chance to know who I am if I have the strength to begin again.
Whoa. Oh, interesting. On the end, he seems to give like a little extra energy pulse, and almost like, oh, it almost sounds like he like cracks up into like a higher pitch there. He's singing definitely a higher pitch, and then there's a fun delay that's put on it afterwards. I think that's all Dimash. It could be a percussive element that was added on top, but it sounds to me like, and it looks to me like this is something that Dimash has vocally added. It's a cool sound. It's a cool crunchy beat too. Okay, before we get to Dimash's low voice, just want to mention for those music theorists out there that are like, oh yeah, what kind of scale is this? This is going to be a harmonic minor scale, essentially. And that's the kind of scale that makes it sound, or that we often associate, I should say, with Arabic music or like really exotic music, like Tales of Arabian Nights. We would get that kind of scale in here. I believe that this is also very prevalent in Kazakh culture. Really cool scale. I love it.
Somewhere in my heart, in ancient times, I wandered through these valleys. I have climbed them on these hills. Faces from the past, somehow divide their memories. I've said lost, I've lost, I feel them in this sea.
Those low notes at the beginning, the beginning of this part that we just heard, those feel like they are lower and more open than I've heard Dimash sing before. He has done some vocal fry that's extremely low, but this is using that low area more. And then when he jumps it up higher, of course, I think that's really impressive that he's able to just jump octaves. He's like, yeah, let's go this place, this octave. Which one do you want? He can do any of the octaves pretty much. And I love the way that he's doing this sort of like pushing into and out of like a more chesty sound or more full sound in various places that helps give it almost like a yodelish kind of feel. He uses that to ornament, and that's a really great method of ethnic ornamentation, essentially. Sounds super cool, and within this context of this crunchier beat and the way he's singing, it almost sounds like a little pop influence. So we're getting this weaving of incredibly low and more open sound that sounds almost like it starts to lean to more classical, but then the fry feels like, honestly, a little bit like Jeff Castellucci. But then you've got the pop elements in there, and you've got some really cool Arabic ornamentation in there, and it's just like the beat sometimes feels like some sort of different electronic music. I don't know. It's a really great blending of genres here. Let's go figure out how low he was singing though, because that would be fun. I love that
in my heart, in ancient times, I wandered through these valleys. I have climbed them on this.
All right. Oh man. So he goes down to a C2 in there at one point. He's starting at an F2 essentially. By this sort of like, so this is a minor third that happens in the scale, by the way. That's the feeling that, or the interval that gives it that exotic flavor. And that's that Arabic feel that you've got in there. It's really cool and fun. And he goes down all the way to this note, which is going to be a C2. It's very, very, very low. And at that point, he's going to be entering into pulse register. Pulse register is actually just defined as pulse because, there's some fun things that are happening in there. It kind of gets a little more rumbly. But specifically at this point, our ears perceive the silence that happens between each vocal folds coming together. So, if we're to go down A, that's up here that an orchestra tunes to, that's 440, drop down an octave, 220, drop down an octave, 110. Another octave is going to be 55. I think that pulse, I want to say it starts around like 70 hertz. So that's basically 70 times that the vocal folds are coming together. I might be off on that exact number. It's around there. And ears are different too. But that's 70 times that the vocal folds will be coming together in a second. When you get to a low enough number, the ears perceive sound in between the vocal folds coming together. So they perceive the air, and that's what gives it sort of a crackly sound to us. I can also feel a little bit crackly in there as well. But just so when you're hearing them, you hear, oh, it's more crackly at that lowest point. Know that that's partly because you can hear the extra space between the vocal folds coming together. kind of cool. That's the definition of pulse register. Okay, back a little bit.
Somewhere in my heart, in ancient times, I wonder.
So that very, very bottom note, that's the perfect example of pulse.
In my heart, in ancient times, I wonder.
And just so you know, pulse is interchangeably used as fry register. So pulse register and fry register, same thing. But fry register is different from vocal fry or fry scream. I know it's a shame that we have the same description or same word for different vocal functions, but it is what it is. Pulse register, fry register, really, really low.
My heart in ancient times, I wonder. Through these valleys I have climbed them on these hills. Faces from our past and holding by their memories. I've said lost, I've lost, I feel them in this sea.
So he does a lot of playing with loft versus twang, or dome versus like a laser focus, which is that's pretty common for this style and the way he's sort of weaving between different styles. It's very necessary to employ these things. So when he's in more of a pop styling, we get not as much of this upper domey space. Right? That's when you'd say, oh, he doesn't sound as operatic at that moment. And often when he's doing some of the really little ornamentation, which I believe is coming from his Kazakh background, when he's doing that, it is a smaller space often inside, and it's going to have a lot more forward resonance. And then in this last part, he did go into a much fuller, it's not quite true belt for him, but this fuller sound that he's taking up. And he let a lot more pharyngeal space happen. So that means that you've got like, instead of like this much space here, which is like here and is bringing the sound out this way, it opened up more and you've got more dome that you then have to sort of resonate and spin the sound around in. Very, very cool. I love how much control he has over this and how he employs different amounts in different kinds of styles. And we'll even play with, bringing more dome or loft or more twang or laser focus into another style in an unexpected way. It's fun. Oh my gosh. I loved this. I loved this so much. This is amazing. It's like he was layering on top of himself and just going through all of these different vocal registers. I love that when he goes into falsetto, he's able to essentially reinforce that falsetto and get like a more focused and narrow sound. It makes it possible to just weave this continuous voice throughout. Wow, killer. Not to mention that the ornamentation is super cool and the harmonization. Like if you just layered all of those things on top of themselves, that would sound so awesome. that one is such an interesting sound. I don't think I've heard that sound from him before. Maybe like little bits of it. It sounded like he was even using like a little bit of a bleeding vibrato in there to help accentuate some of that ornamentation. This section reminds me a little bit of No, the song that he's done before. That had like so much more of a forward buzz in the sound, right? That's a great example of like tons of twang. And it really he pulls, like he just gets extra nasality in it. It sounds like he's been able to play in that direction even more since I last heard him. It's so cool. When you hear Dimash sing, I think it's really easy to get used to the huge range. He's doing such a good job of navigating all of this. It doesn't sound difficult. Like that last note didn't sound really that difficult, but it's the same high note that the Queen of the Night sings over and over. We're like, oh my gosh, that high F over and over and over. It's the same note, and he just sang it right after singing this like ridiculous slow stuff. Oh my goodness. So we already have a full octave there, another octave to there, another octave to there, another octave to there, and we have another half on below. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4.5 octaves. I don't know if you heard all that because I turned away from the microphone, but 4.5 octaves that Dimash has done so far. That's insane. He made it sound so smooth. Gosh, he's good. It's like ridiculous level of good.
As I can see, new ground underneath my feet.
Oh, interesting. I love the direction. I was seeing smoke, and for a little bit I was worried that somebody had set themselves on fire, but that did not happen. I think they just all blew their candles out. The immediate drop into this lower range for Dimash, from having just sung these really high notes, it's just so indicative of his amazing coordination. It is not easy to go super high to super low like that. It takes a lot of practice and coordination, and he did a great job without any rest, really. Here.
New crown far as I can see. New ground underneath my feet. Stranger in a stranger's land. New chance, don't know who I am if I have the strength to begin.
Yay, fire. Okay, I want to briefly talk about these lyrics. I think that it's very interesting. It seems in some way to be referencing Robert Heinlein that wrote Stranger in a Strange Land. I'm wondering if that was intentional, stranger in a stranger's land, right? It feels like it's playing on that a little bit. I do think, looking over these lyrics, it sounds like when they blew out the candles, that it was almost like some spirit or realm was blown out at that moment. And you have this new ground idea. It sounds like this person is continuously reinventing themselves. And I was thinking about how appropriate that would be for this young performers competition, where a lot of them might be coming from a foreign land. And I mean, Dimash is obviously also from a foreign land, and he's been to all of these different competitions. And anytime a singer gets to approach a new competition, it's another chance to reinvent yourself. So I thought that was a particularly lovely personal attachment that I might be hearing there, of this beautiful chance of rebirth, essentially. Maybe that's the sacred moment that this ritual is happening.
Don't know who I am, we will have this train to begin.
Okay, sorry, I got to... Oh my goodness, we're in a different key now. Ah, okay, come back here. All right, that note right there, that's an F sharp 5. That is a very, very high note to belt the way he did just now. We get surprised when women can belt that, meaning that you're, in this case, he's still using his full voice. He hasn't flipped over into falsetto. And that's a lot of TA engagement that is still happening. So thyroid muscle and cricothyroids are still going together at this point. We haven't switched over to falsetto. So there's a lot of pressure and coordination that have to be matched together so that you don't blow it out and crack. This is beautiful, and the laser-like quality he has at the top is extraordinary. That is one killer long high note, like whoosh. And then is that, yep, that's that same F5 sharp I was talking about. That's, oh, whoa, that's crazy. That was very, very, very long. And it's easier often to hit a high note and just kind of run through it. To extend it like this, that's like actually different muscle fibers that have to be coaxed into sustaining that kind of note. So that's like extra special and cool to me. Wow. Also, I heard once that people have bought Dimash knee pads because of the way he lands on stage with his knees. That looks very painful, but I'm glad that he probably has knee pads underneath his costume. Okay, let's go back. How many seconds was this? Oh my goodness, it was further back than I thought. Okay, so he actually starts singing before he goes to the high note. I think it was around, I want to say 456, which makes this about a 20-second long breath and extending into high note. It takes so much energy to be singing like that. So to extend that for 20 seconds is nuts. The amount of time he's actually on the high note itself, I think was around 18. You guys can definitely let me know what you calculated down in comments below. Let's hear it one more time, and then we'll finish up. Great vibrato too. Wow. Ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Dimash Kudaibergen!
That did not disappoint at all. I love hearing his voice develop. It's just like, it's one of the sweetest things about getting to do what I do is listening to the development of artists along the way. And it is so cool. I think his lows have really opened up and they're becoming even more fantastic. And I loved hearing the different navigation as he was sort of doing that layering with a fun ornamentation in the middle. That was really cool to hear his, the way he could shift his tone between each of those. I think he's gained even more access to twang. And that's super cool. Not only that, this sustained note at the very end is very, very impressive. I feel like one of my other favorite singers is So Hyung. She's able to belt really high as well. And that's like, it almost sounded like her ability to belt that high, which is funny because she's a lady, right? Wow, 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 wow. He demonstrated mastery of range throughout the song. And I feel that that is partly because Igor Krutoy gave him the opportunity to demonstrate that mastery. Really well done, well written together, beautiful combining of different styles. I love that they're bringing in lots of elements from traditional Kazakh music. I think that is wonderful and one of the things that makes Dimash really, truly unique. Please let me know if you have any other recommendations. Please write those down in the comments below this video. We look for your comments there and we tally your recommendations. So just know you are heard. And additionally, I am here every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday at 8 a.m. Arizona time for a live premiere. I hope you'll come and join us there. The live chat is super fun. And you can also find me on Patreon and at thecharismaticvoice.com, where I have classes about music and about singing. I hope to talk to you soon.